Hey guys, how are you? We're gonna talk about tech in this video. Um, I think there is somewhat of a risk that we could see some bigger technical breakdowns in tech. Again, we haven't got any confirmations, but we have some charts I want to show you of bigger companies, 10 billion, 50 billion, so not small companies, and where I think, as long as they hold that uptrend, you're fine. But anything below that, and again, if you have a position, maybe start to consider something else, selling some profit, whatever. Again, I just want to give you the levels that I see where I think we could see more downside. And if tech starts to have a bad time, it could spill over into the entire market because tech is such a big market cap, right? So if you have tech, pulling back heavily, that could, contagion into other sectors like gold and silver, uranium, oil, crypto, of course, and all that. So I have marked here. I'm recording cool. Roughly, we have 8 stocks here that have somewhat of clean setups or patterns that we can actually get an idea about what to do if XYZ happens. So this is SCmI, fan favorite stock, back in 2022, 23, up 2000%, even more. And then we had what I like to call it the bear flag of death, blow off top into a bear flag. You can find that on platinum as well. In 2021, maybe it was 2020, I can't remember, we had similar where it actually, we had the bear flag and then we actually started to grind, lower over a long period of time. So what I would be afraid of here, or the negative view is very clear on SMCI. Anything below that trend line is bearish. Of course, when we make a lower low after the breakdown, very bearish. However, anything to the north side, basically above like 62, 63, that is bullish, right? So we have a level here, like a range where anything above 62, very bullish. Anything below 48, 47 initially, bearish. Dropping below 40, very bearish on SMCI. So again, we have a huge contraction here. So we know exactly what to do, right? When are we gonna, sell potentially or go short, or to the upside go long on SMCI? And this is a 2-year, almost 1.5 year worth of, sideways wedging up, which we like to see. So so either way it goes, that is your view, right? That is all we can do. Up, break to the upside, bullish. Break to the downside, bearish. Very simple. Palantir. What an uptrend, holy bananas. And actually my good friend Borak went long on Palantir when I think we broke down here in 2023. $10, now we see it at 190. I wish I was a part of that. That's amazing. Boom, very simple, but still it takes a lot to pull the trigger. So bam, really cool stuff there. We're still in an overall 3-4 year uptrend, very strong uptrend, but still, however, I'm saying if we break this internal blue here, taking profit or is not the worst idea ever made in this in this world, because we have 1 now, we have 2, 3, we could break somewhere within the next 2 weeks potentially, and yeah, I think that will send price way lower. Actually, we could see it all the way down below, just below 100, right? Let's call it 100 for even numbers, right? 100 roughly thereabout. We could see a drop, so we could see this one get cut in half if we break the blue. And if things goes really, really bad, if we break the golden also, we could see 25. Again, not tomorrow. I'm not going to call it, but again, this blue here is very important for Palantir, and I want you to have your views on that uptrend there. Boom, boom. But for now, everything remains bullish. We're basically trying to break into new all-time highs here, so all good. But again, if we do that or that, right? That's my view. Be careful when that happens. Kavana here, also Borak, my good friend, bought it down here. I have no lines on. He bought it right around here. That breakage there, it takes, in hindsight, everything is easy, but that takes, it's really good entry. And I don't know if he's long still or not, but I mean, come on, he's so good. From 10 to 300 and what, 50? Who would have thought that? So, but also here again, we're basically getting back to prior all-time highs, right? So if you have been long from anywhere, you know, taking profit at all-time highs after a 400x roughly up move, I mean, sometimes you gotta say, I gotta take some risk off the table, and that could be here, of course. Trend line wise, what do we have here? Right, you get the idea. Look at that. Look at that. Anything below the red here is immensely bearish in my view. And you can see quite clearly, if we ever start to trade below that little, you know, candle wick, you know, weekly wick low there, which is, let's call it 300, that to me seems like we're gonna go for a big move down on Cavana. But again, lovely uptrend, but anything below 300 over the next few weeks, to me, I wouldn't be holding any position from there on in Cavana, that's for sure. But what a move! Holy, that's insane. D-Dog here, setting up for something potentially. Datadog, which is 50 billion, very big company. This is our lovely 4-year wedge, and you can just see it here, right? We have the wedge going on here to the upside. We might get a little move down here potentially, but boom. So once we break the yellow, that is actually a really good entry in D-Dog. And right now it's roughly 170. But again, if we get a little dribble and then go, again, that would be roughly 160. So you get the idea. Anything above that golden trend, that yellow upper wedge trend line there, immensely bullish in D-Dog. And I would target, again, I'm just going to do a bit of a lower target here, which is just, yeah, north of 400 potentially on D-Dog, with a pit stop, of course. Well, not of course, but often at around 200. In this case, that's the triangle high. So again, you can also get some vibes here, couldn't you? Maybe, baby. So again, anything north of 170 here, to me, maybe 160, seems extremely bullish for D-Dog. DKNG, which is DraftKings, that is movies and entertainment, also a big company. A bit of a funky one here, but I think the main focus should be that lower rail. If we start to lose that, again, that is a very bearish sentiment to dive into. So what it needs to do, again, you can see we have also some downtrends going on here, big fakey. So in order to really become bullish, I think we can also say here that we have like a different kind of tipping wedge here potentially coming in. And that seems to be the make or break for DKNG. So of course, bullish would be, right, if we go to something like that and then we break to the upside, that would be a buy signal. Anything below roughly 31, 32-ish, that would be bearish for DraftKings. But again, we are wedging up here over a longer period of time. That's why it has our interest. DUOL, which is Duolingo, also a big company, 15 billion. Lovely, clean 3-year uptrend. Look at that, beautiful, very clear. A little bit of an overshoot here, which tends to happen. And then we're gonna come all the way down to the other side. So support-wise, roughly 250 here. You can see it, the supply and demand zone breakout, tagged again, you know, pullbacks, you know. So anything below 250 to 260, below that, again, bearish, above that, bullish, as long as we hold. So again, you can also see here, head, potential right shoulder. So anything below 250, in my view, would be extremely bearish. And again, you can also start to buy here with a tight stop below that 250 in order to still, you know, remain potentially the uptrend buy, because the uptrend is still intact. However, below 250, that is out of the window. So yeah, very interesting here. You're getting some topping patterns potentially, but you're still in the uptrend. You're still above support. So Duolingo here, interestingly. Again, 250 and below, I wouldn't be a long holder of Duolingo by any means. IonQ here, also getting to a big moment here. That one there, very clean trendline breakage, roughly at 8. Now we're sitting at 60, really strong. And then again we have a breakout here. So overall we're making higher highs, higher lows. Quite happy with the entire thing, but also we're getting potentially it's coming to an end for IonQ. And what is holding this one together, in my view, is actually that upper lower trend line here, 1, 2, 3. You can see it there. So if we break down from that, which is roughly at like 50, 52, 55 maybe, you know, right around here, then that would be very bearish in my view, and we're most likely going to go in for a bigger correction or a deeper correction, right? But let's see. But this decision point is coming, that's for sure. Look at that pointy little wedge to the upside. Last one here is Riot. This is just to show you like an old drawing, so, or like an old analysis here. We said once we start to break above the highs here, 15 USD, then we go to target, which is basically the highs over here from 2021, and we're still fully intact on the way to that target. Sitting right now at triangle highs, that can be a bit of a grind, but again you can see the measured move, which is roughly around that, you know, 78 to 80 bucks, which is the highs up there. Big resistance at that high. You can also see here blow off top, bear wedge, bearish, bear flag, and then we actually grinded for a very long time, just like what could happen on the SCmI chart. So again, this is very, very, I think market, even though SCmI is not that big of a company, it's still a big of a company compared to like Nvidia and all these guys, of course. It's still a good indicator of this one here. This one here, I think overall the market is going to go into a, you know, resumed uptrend or resuming the uptrend, but breaking down, that could actually be very telling for the tech markets. I have nothing more. 12 minutes. It's a good duration for a move, for like a video for you guys. As always, if you want to, you can follow me on X, and you can also follow me on Substack. 2 videos today is already short-term view on gold and silver, platinum, palladium, and then, you know, buy the dip potentially on 4 silver and gold stocks, and we're also checking into coffee. That's all I have, guys. Have an amazing day. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great one.